This screencast is going to show you how to create self-graded quizzes using Flubaroo. The first thing you will need to do is create your quiz in Google Forms. To do this, you need to log into your Google account and go to Google Drive, which can be found by clicking the boxes in the top right corner near your name. Once you're in Drive, you need to select New, or some versions of Drive may say Create, and choose Google Forms. Now you'll need to give your form a title. Now we're ready to start creating the quiz. So the first question you want to create is a name question so that you can identify your students, and this will be a text question. We want to make sure that this is a required question. Students cannot skip this question. We also want to create a question for email address. Now, it's not required that your students have an email address. However, if you want to send them the answers to their quiz so that they can see how they performed, they will need to enter an email address. However, your students do not need to have Gmail. They just need to have any old email. And again, make this a required question so that students cannot skip this part. Now we're ready to start creating our quiz questions. Multiple choice questions work best. If you select, because all of the questions are graded against an answer key. So if you select open-ended questions, there can only be one right answer. And so your students will need to make sure that their spelling, capitalization, and punctuation match the answer keys. Otherwise, the question will be marked wrong. Even if there's one letter out of place and it doesn't match the answer on the answer key, it will be marked wrong. So to start adding questions, you would just click on Add Item and then type in your question. And add your answer choices. So after you have finished creating the assessment and adding all of your questions, you'll need to take the quiz yourself to create an answer key. So to do this, you would click on View Live Form, and then instead of your name, you would just put answer key as the indicator, and then choose your email address, and then complete the quiz with the correct answers. And then submit. Now it's time to share the quiz with the students and have them actually take it. So to do this, you can click on Send Form. And there are one of two ways that you can share this with your students. The first one would be to send form via email. So you would individually enter the names, or if you have a group of email addresses for your class, you would type these in here and send the quiz to the students via email. Another way to share the quiz with students would be to share the link or the URL. So there's an option to shorten the URL, and you can copy and paste this and give it to the students who then navigate to the URL to take the quiz. Once students have completed the quiz, their answers will be collected in a spreadsheet that was automatically created when you first created your form, and this can be found back in Google Drive. So here is the quiz I created, and here is the spreadsheet with student responses. Now, if for some reason this spreadsheet wasn't created, which happens sometimes, you have to manually create one. And to do that, from your form, you would go to Responses, Response Destination, and then New Spreadsheet and Create, and this will create a spreadsheet for you. So now here comes the fun part, the grading of the quizzes, which I bet as a teacher you never thought you would say that, but I promise you it is fun. So you're going to navigate back to your Drive, and then you go to the spreadsheet where your student responses are and open that up. And so you can see I have all of my student responses here along with my answer key at the top. So what I'll need to do is click on Add-ons, Get Add-ons. And then from here, nice and big is Flubaroo. If it doesn't appear here, you can search for Flubaroo in the search bar up here. So I'm going to click on Free to get Flubaroo and accept. Okay, and so now you only have to do this step once. From here on out, Flubaroo will always be included in your spreadsheets. So from here, I want to click on Add-ons again, and now I see Flubaroo appears. And I want to grade assignment. So from here, the program will walk you through a series of steps. The first step is where you assign point values to the different questions. The first two questions are identifiers, so I don't need to assign a point value. If I want to weight some questions more than others, I have the option to do so, or I can skip grading. So for example, if you wanted to create a quiz that also had maybe a longer student response that wouldn't be automatically graded but manually graded by the teacher, I would just choose skip grading. So from here, I click Continue. And here's where I select my answer key for all of the other quizzes to be graded against. So it's right here at the top. So I select that one and then click on Continue again. And voila, in less than 1 minute, you have all of your student quizzes graded. So now I can see a summary of my student responses. The highlighted questions in orange indicate that less than 60% of the class got it correct. And the students highlighted in red scored below 70%. So I can see my target areas easily highlighted for me. I'm also able to go back to the original answer sheet to see just exactly how my students answered for each question. The final step, which is optional, is sending your students their grades via email. So you can do this by going back up to Add-ons and Flubaroo and emailing grades. And so I choose which is the question that contains the email. And then I can also choose to include the answer key if I want my students to see the correct answer if they answered incorrectly, and I can include a message to send out to all of my students. And then it tells me how many grades were successfully emailed. And so I can match it up against my roster to see if anyone maybe typed in their email address wrong or something like that and didn't receive their results. Now, so you can get an idea from the student's perspective what they'll see when their grade is emailed to them. This is what it would look like in their email. So they get their grade nice and big at the top, they get a message from the teacher, and then they can see a breakdown of how they scored on each item. So, for example, I got the second question wrong, and I can see what the correct answer would be compared to the answer I chose. Flubaroo is such a great tool because it provides students with instant feedback right away, and it allows the teacher to more thoughtfully target instruction by being able to see where some problem areas might lie. And also, it's a huge time saver. I just graded 18 student quizzes and sent the feedback and results to everyone in less than 2 minutes.